Mikel Arteta spoke with the press earlier today concerning the Manchester United game versus Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium coming up on Sunday. He had his press conference earlier today. And I'm here, let us dissect a few things he has had to say. Because the press conference started with the press asking him about seeing Califiori and Hincapie in training earlier today, asking if they were fit and available to start against Manchester United. Mikel Arteta responded to say that, yes, they were in training today, but they have another session tomorrow and they will be assessed by them. And I know when Mikel Arteta says this, it means that these players could actually be ready to go. And I'm most happy seeing Callifiori, because that left wing, especially the defensive left wing position, Callifiori is needed. On if there are any fresh injuries from the game with Inter, he stated that there are no fresh injury concerns and the rest of the squad are good to go. They asked him about selection headache now that Gabriel Jesus is back and back with a goal. Gyökeres off the bench with a goal and Kai Havertz also available. Arteta responded that it's a good headache to have and that he's happy to have all these players available and fit and firing. It's good coming into the crucial part of the season and they'll be raring to go. On how helpful is Gyökeres to have Havertz and Jesus back, he said it is very, very helpful because at the start of the season, he didn't have so much choice to rotate and Gyökeres was loaded with a lot of minutes and it would help him to have these players back. The press proceeded to ask him about MIKEL Carrick, now the new manager or the new coach of Manchester United, what he thinks about it. Mikel Arteta mentioned that it helps to have somebody who has played and understands the club come back to the club. Of course, a lot of things are going to change. Culturally, the person understands the club and it would just be the person fitting into his job and doing what needs to be done and the person will be good to go. He was asked about it and Nwaneri's move to Olympique Marseille. Arteta said it's like being thrown into the shark waters. You need to swim, you need to survive, but gives kudos to Roberto Di Zerbi, that is a good manager, and the relationship between Marseille and Arsenal, especially when William Saliba went there, would help for Nwaneri to play under a good manager, under a good football culture, and to learn and to have minutes. On the rivalry between Manchester United and Arsenal, he was asked that by the late 1990s and the early 2000s, when Arsenal and Man United were going at it, if that helped him to prepare for this particular game. Arteta responded that thanks to the press who amplified it to make sure that even when he was in Spain as a teenager, he heard much about it. They were always looking forward to it. It's a game at the highest level for many, many years, and may the best team go ahead to win the game. If there are memories against them that stand out, he said that he didn't know. There are a lot, obviously, a lot in terms of the games, and there are, the tension between the two clubs whenever they are playing makes this so exciting. On how different Man United are or will be under MIKEL Carrick, Mikel Arteta stated that he didn't know, but every game is different, and at the end is the individuals that play the game. Of course, he expects MIKEL Carrick to be to bring some new ideologies and all of that to Manchester United, and it's going to be different from when the former manager was there. If Gyökeres can show his best form in front of goal right now, Arteta responded to say it's a lot of things that have to happen consistently to be able to produce, those performances numbers, but we have different relationships around him as well, as because Kai is a player that can play into attacking midfield position. So, of course, he would have a lot of support right now, and that will do his confidence a lot of good. If it's easier to settle in as a manager when you've already played for the club, Mikel Arteta stated that, yes, it helps, especially when a manager understands the club, knows some people there that he can relate with. It's just applying yourself to the job that you have been given, and you'll just do well. On breaking down low blocks, well, it's one of the weapons that is necessary because a lot of teams come to play against Arsenal and they sit deep and want to defend. So it just has to do with how the game develops and who wants it more. So now that we are chasing major trophies, it's something that the team needs to do. On how different setting up for a European game to a domestic game is, he responded that it is very different, first of all, because the information and the time that you have to prepare those games, and when you don't know them that much, it is very, very different. On where Kai Havertz is in his rehab, Arteta stated that obviously he's close, but they don't want to bother him so much. He wants to give him the minutes that is required for a player that is just coming back from a long-term injury. Of course, the aim is to have him available for crucial games later on in the season when the big games start coming. On the importance of having Harvertz fighting for the end of the season, yes, because it's a long-term injury and has to be managed. On how supporters can calm their nerves when asked of, the supporters are just anxious on seeing us now winning. Arteta responded that it's about calming, it's about continuing to do what we are doing really well and try to evolve every single day to be better. So from that side, it is continue to do what they do in the stadium create the more energy, create the atmosphere for the players to go ahead and perform. Arteta was also asked about Manchester City's manager Pep Guardiola calling Arsenal's team the best in the world currently. Arteta had this to say: I don't know. I think we are the team that wants to be consistently better. That we are doing a lot of things right, but we are far from perfect, and we only aim to sustain the level that we are doing, especially in certain areas, try to improve. On if United game will be won and lost in transition, Arteta responded that it is one of the areas that the game can be won and lost, but there are other things that has to go right in every other department. It is clear that they are a team that loves space to run. So in certain space to activate a run, they become lethal. So you saw that against a few days ago against Manchester City, and Arsenal need to be wary of that. On if they're the best team in the league in transition, I don't know. That's if Manchester United are the best team in transition. Arteta responded, I don't know. Historically, there has always been something very linked to that. And the profile of players that they always have, and certain individuals that are so good activating those spaces as well. I don't know the stats exactly, but for sure, they are one of the best. On how much the balance of the team has been impacted by missing Callifiori, we are trying to adapt to the qualities Arteta responded of our players, and certain players give us more dynamism and more optimism in terms of the space that they can occupy, where they are comfortable and how they can link between them. Others are probably more static, more fixed, and more positional. And Ricardo's quality is he can be very fluent in many spaces. On Saka's recent goal scoring record, Arteta had this to say: that's a possibility always, but the impact that he has in games around all the attacking processes for us, and the attraction that he has in the points as well, opening up spaces for other players. We want him obviously to play, scoring and assisting in every match, and that has to be the aim at the level he has. So we keep working on that. He's keeping Bukayo Saka on his toe and keep working on the quick transition. There is a lot he has had to say, but these few and on if it's difficult to leave Gabriel Jesus out of the team, Arteta said it's exactly what you want from a striker, the same that Victor did, but at the end you have to pick what you think is best, the best team to start against different oppositions in a different context, and then you are going to finish the game as well. So tomorrow evening and morning and match will decide. So every match he picks the best team available to try and get the needed points. Or if it's nice to hear Guardiola's compliments about Arsenal team being the best in the world, Arteta says it is always much better when you have trophies to back that up. So maybe they need to talk about that when Arsenal have achieved winning some trophies. If he's spoken to Waniri about his own loan spell in the past, Arteta said yes, and not only me, but a lot of players that have these kinds of situation, and just understanding how he's going to feel. So it's a thing that he needed for him to get some minutes and all of that. And those are just a few from what Mikel Arteta has had to say in his press conference so far. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about what Mikel Arteta has had to say, and let's go.